It's the one day of the year when everyone pretends to be a huge NFL fan, and it's also where players make their names and build their careers. But teams and players can sometimes lose with crazy choke jobs, leading to a debate about whether it was really a choke or did the other team just make a great play. So today we're going to list down the top 12 biggest Super Bowl choke jobs in NFL history, starting off with number 12, Denver Broncos in 2014.
As we welcome you back for the kickoff of Super Bowl 48.
The Broncos had hoped for a better day, and it didn't come as much of a surprise that the Seahawks beat them, but how the Broncos gave up was terrible when they got blown out by Seattle in one of the worst choke jobs of the decade. Peyton Manning failed to do his job, so the game ended 43-8. Manning also had two throws that were picked off, and one of these mistakes led to a touchdown that the Broncos had to pay for, and in the end, they had to wait another year to get that hard-to-find ring. Next, at number 11, New England Patriots in 2012.
A Super Bowl highlight. This is how it all went down.
We think it's safe to say that the New York Giants were the bane of Tom Brady's existence. On paper, the Giants had no right to beat the Patriots, who were the better team. But when it mattered, they did two things that seemed impossible. The second was in Super Bowl 46, which was held in Indiana. This wasn't as important as their first victory, but they still won. People love to say that Eli Manning wasn't a good quarterback. That's probably true, but he did well at the right times. But no one can say that he didn't perform well in Super Bowls. And after the Patriots made it 17-15 again, the Giants regrouped, but New England had a better team, so this was a chance they didn't take. Coming up at number 10, Dallas Cowboys in 1971. In this game, John Mackey scored a controversial touchdown that may have been against the rules. It was a pass from Johnny Unitas, and the Cowboys had a reason to complain about it. But despite all of their excuses, Dallas was messy and not very good, and with 5 seconds left, Jim O'Brien made the winning field goal. To be honest, the Colts did deserve to win. At halftime, Dallas was ahead 13-6, but it had one of the worst choke jobs in history. Two interceptions were very important because they both led to scores for Baltimore. And according to Tom Landry, the Cowboys were the worst thing that could happen to them. Well, it's safe to say that this was one of the least fun Super Bowl games ever because both teams played badly. Followed by number 9, Cincinnati Bengals in 88. It might sound harsh, but this is one of the biggest choke jobs ever. And that might make sense since Joe Montana was the 49ers starting quarterback. But when we look at the Bengals' next 30 years, we can see that they missed a chance to become famous. In fact, they lost their only chance to win the championship. Boomer Esiason was in the best shape of his life, so the matchup was very interesting. It was a close game, and with 3 minutes left, the Bengals were ahead 16-13, but they couldn't keep up as Joe Montana led his team down the field. And in just a few years, Cincinnati went downhill very fast, making their last appearance in a Super Bowl game in 2022. What's more, at number 8, New England Patriots in 2008. Bill Belichick's Patriots have lost a couple of Super Bowls, but this one hurts the most because they were so close to finishing a perfect season. They came into the game with a perfect 18-0 record, including the playoffs, and against the New York Giants, there was a chance to stay undefeated. Most people hated the Patriots, but they thought the outcome was inevitable. But Eli Manning and his teammates disagreed. And if Tom Brady and Bill Belichick are going to be haunted by any result, it will be this one, because it shouldn't have happened to begin with. Also, the Patriots won many awards during that season, but it felt like none mattered after this. Not to mention, at number 7, John Kasay choking in 2004. The Patriots were the Panthers' first opponent in the Super Bowl, and this game is remembered as one of the most exciting ever. But for John Kasay, the memory is painful. After a close and intense game, Kasay tied the score with a minute left, but he didn't have much time to enjoy the applause. He had to take care of duties related to the kickoff, and then the nightmare started when he sent the ball out of the playing area, which resulted in a penalty for an illegal procedure. But the smart Patriots were able to get the ball back down the field, and eventually Adam Vinatieri made the winning field goal. It was a terrible moment for Kasay's legacy because his mistake ended his team's hopes. Now, look at number 6, Eugene Robinson in 99. Robinson was easily one of the Falcons' best players, and they knew they needed him to do his best if they wanted to win the Super Bowl. Brace yourselves, as this is some off-field action we're presenting. When the Miami police stopped him, things got confusing, as Robinson approached an undercover police officer because he thought she was a prostitute, and this resulted in him enjoying the precinct's hospitality until 4 a.m. when he was finally let go. The Falcons made a bad decision when they put him in the starting lineup the next day. Robinson wasn't at his best after an exhausting night and was also responsible for an 80-yard touchdown by Gerald Robinson. Moving on to number 5, the third entry for the New England Patriots, their choke in 85. In Super Bowl 20, the Chicago Bears beat the New England Patriots. Yes, it was a nightmare outcome for New England, but it could have been been avoided. First, Raymond Berry made the unpopular decision to start Tony Eason. This meant that his backup would be Steve Grogan, a veteran. But this was a bad decision, as Eason went 0 for 6 before Berry pulled him. In the meantime, the Bears lost control. Grogan was sacked 4 times after he came onto the field, and the Patriots also lost the ball 6 times, giving one of the worst choke jobs ever. At last, the game ended mercifully, and Chicago won 46-10. Now, number 4, Seattle Seahawks in 2015. Statistically speaking, Pete Carroll says that Seattle made the right decision in Super Bowl 49, but that doesn't change one fact. Marshawn Lynch was only 4 yards away from scoring. Instead, Russell Wilson went looking for Ricardo Lockett, but the Patriots stopped him, and rookie Malcolm Turner stole the ball, and Wilson's hope of winning a second Super Bowl ended right away. Some say that Lynch didn't do well from similar positions during the regular season, but many critics say the offensive coaches did one of the worst choke jobs ever. After all this, they still haven't been to another Super Bowl since. Coming up at number 3, Philadelphia Eagles in 2005.
Back to full at home, baby. Let's get ready to go to war. 1, 2, 3.
In Super Bowl 39, the Eagles played the Patriots, and while their offense had quarterback Donovan McNabb and the unpredictable Terrell Owens, there was no doubt about the latter's talent. But he had a rocky relationship with the quarterbacks. This was a bad day for Andy Reid, the team's head coach, because 2 of his most important players let him down. Yes, the Eagles worked hard, but they weren't good enough to win. On top of that, McNabb threw some crucial interceptions, but later he said Terrell was out of position. Meanwhile, Terrell said McNabb threw up on the field because he was drunk. It was a mess, but Reid got his revenge when the Chiefs won a Super Bowl almost 20 years later. Not to forget, at number 2, Scott Norwood in 91. It's safe to say that Norwood's miss keeps coming back to him in his dreams. Throughout the regular season, the Bills kicker was very reliable, and he also had the chance to become an instant star in Buffalo. Only 47 yards stood between him and a Super Bowl ring. Instead, he sealed his immortality, but not for the reason he wanted. He kicked the ball wide right, resulting in the Bills losing the game. Some people think it's unfair to call this one of the biggest choke jobs, but Norwood's only job was kicking the ball between the posts. But obviously, it was the Super Bowl and the pressure was too much, and instead, the Giants ended up winning the biggest prize. Lastly, at number 1, Atlanta Falcons in 2019.
Super Bowl! Brady has his 5th! What a comeback!
In 2017, the Falcons did one of the worst choke jobs ever. In Super Bowl 51, they were 28-3 up on the Patriots. It's safe to say Dan Quinn has trouble sleeping because they should have won with this 25-point lead. Also, the previously mentioned Kyle Shanahan was the Falcons' offensive coordinator. Because of this, he got a lot of criticism. And before they came storming back, the Patriots were about to lose by a big margin as they sent the game into overtime, where Tom Brady's ice-cold performance won the game for his team. It made him the greatest player of all time. And after this loss, Atlanta went into a free fall from which they haven't recovered. That's all for this video. What are your thoughts on this list? Let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more exciting content in the future. Thanks for watching. See you next time.